Hello once again and welcome to the final subbench of 2020, which in case you hadn't noticed has been a bit of a strange year. But we're going to finish it up by talking about a brand new book out for Christmas. And joining me on the line from his home in Portishead, as we've done right throughout several lockdowns this year, is Richard Latham. And Richard, lockdown produced a bit of an opportunity for you, didn't it really? Because you spent your time wisely by producing this book, which is the Subbench Interviews, Bristol City Memories, and all based on the interviews we've done over the past, 5 or 6 years with famous City players of yesteryear.
Yeah, I had to take out the silly questions you asked, but the questions I asked, the sensible ones, are all in there. It just seemed a good opportunity we had so much fun, didn't we, talking to players from City and Rovers over the years of Subbench, and a lot of information came out that we didn't know anything about. And I mean, I've followed Bristol City closely for 40 years, and talking to some of the old players, things came out that I didn't know. So basically, the book is 27 interviews that we did for Subbench, not only with ex-players, but with the likes of Steve Lansdown and Marina Dolman and Steve Cotterill, sort of icons of the club and people who enjoy success at the club, but mostly with past players. And those past players range from Gordon Parr back in the 60s, right through to Scott Murray and Lewis Carey, but more recently, and covering all the eras in between. So it just seemed a good chance to put on record in a book, together with some photos and cuttings, which mainly I had, but also I've been kindly helped by people like the Bristol Post and Bristol's new media department as well. So the book is basically interviews with these people, with cuttings, old photos. It's a nostalgia book in a way, and it really reflects on the highs and lows of Bristol City over the time I've covered the club and watched the club. Indeed, I can honestly say I've watched all of the players that are featured in the book, and they come up with some tremendous tales. And I'm hoping it's going to be a good Christmas present for City fans. It's out next Monday, and I've already had a load of pre-orders. A lot of people interested, so I'm thankful for that. And as I say, hopefully it'll be a good Christmas present.
Yeah, and despite that, I do manage to feature at least on the back cover, so that's an achievement. It's more than your previous book, which you managed to edit me out of.
Slip through, but yeah, you are, and you are featured actually several times through the book as well. I do apologise in advance to people about that, but you were in the interview, so you were in the same room. Sometimes I couldn't crop you out.
Right, well, we're going to just play a couple of illustrations of some of the interviews. As you say, 27 interviews, I think, of former City players. The first of which was Jansen Derrick. Tell us a little bit about that interview with him.
Well, Jansen's a lovely guy, and again, one of the first players I watched in a Bristol City shirt, and it was all red kit when I first started watching City in the middle to late 60s, or probably 67, 68, around that time. Jansen was thought of as the mercurial, brilliant player. Not brilliant every week, but on his day, fantastic. And it was great to meet up with him again, because he was certainly a favourite player of mine at that time. And of course, he had the distinction also of leaving City, one of the first players to play abroad. He went to play for Paris Saint-Germain at the end of his City career. So a lot for Jansen to talk about, including how he got his name, which if you buy the book, you'll find out.
Yeah, and he also talks about one of his favourite players, and probably the best player he ever played with, John Attio. So who were the big players in the City first team at the time you broke into
players,
it?
I mean, probably one of the best players that I've ever played with, which is John Attio. Big John was a phenomenal player.
He's a legend, Jansen. What was so special about him?
I think he was over 6 foot. He was a big lad. He was good in the air. What more could I say? He had a lot of skill for a big guy, and he had an eye for a goal. And he was very cool in front of goal. And
did he tell you where he wanted the ball put?
Not
you as a
really.
winger to supply now?
Yeah, I mean, I just knew where John was going to be. It wasn't rocket science really.
What was he like off the field? You get on?
Yeah, he was. He lived at Dilton Marsh down by Warminster. Came up, drove up every day. Great character. He used to have a new car every year. I think it was a Hillman Hunter or Hillman Hawk, something like that. He wouldn't pay the extra for his central heating in his car. It's there. So he wore a big heavy coat and a scarf and gloves. But
he was a bit careful with money.
He was careful, John. He was careful. But yeah, he was, and he could talk. He was a lovely lad, lovely guy. I loved him dearly.
So Jansen, Derek there talking about the great John Attio. So moving just a little bit closer to modern times, then we came to one of the most traumatic period of Bristol City's history, didn't we? And the Ashton 8. And one of our interviewees was this gentleman in the book, Jeff Merrick. We had a very interesting time sitting down chatting with him, didn't we, Richard?
Yeah, fascinating time. And I said the book features highs and lows in City's history, and probably no player epitomises them more than Jeff Merrick. Yet the high for him was leading the team out at Arsenal. He first came back in the First Division as captain in 1976, and I was at that game. City played brilliantly that day to win 1-0. Fantastic occasion for everyone involved with the club. And then, of course, Jeff's career went on, played for the First Division. Really, really good player. Could have gone to Arsenal at one time. And then came the awful happenings of 1982, the financial collapse of the club. And Jeff ended up as being one of the 8 players who tore up contracts to keep City in existence. So a fascinating chat with him about highs and lows of times at Bristol City.
In this day and age, if you stayed up for 4 seasons and then you went down and you got your 30 million or whatever it is you get parachute payment, it would be quite successful, and it's a stepping stone for kicking off again, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Whereas with us, we had the 4 seasons, and then everything financially went to pieces, and the club fell into major problems.
But that could still happen, can't it? Because what happened to Fulham, having got promoted and spent 100 million quid and get relegated by a mile? So it's not like City went out and spent millions, is it?
Well, not that I knew of, anyway.
Not on your salary,
none of it came my way, I can tell you much. I mean, even with I know we aren't talking about the Ashton Gate 8, I mean, the amount of money that they talked about that we were getting was a load of rubbish, you know. We were on reasonable wages, and that was the end of it. So, quite why Bristol City got into the trouble that they got into, I would like to ask a few questions about it, because we were getting good gigs. Football was quite cheap to run those days, and we were quite cheap to run. We didn't take a lot of money. Nobody had massive things going on that was draining money out of the club, as far as I know. But why we finished up in such a state, like I say, a few people we could ask some questions.
Jeff Merrick there with his subbench memories from his time at Bristol City, and Richard, we're going to talk about a third one of the interviews from the book, as we say, 27 in all, so we can't possibly go through them all on this programme, but bring us much closer to modern times, and that was, of course, Steve Cotterill, who, of course, guided City to that double, that promotion and Wembley double, and we got the chance to go in and see him the week after Wembley, didn't we? And actually to hold up the Johnson's Paint Trophy. I know you don't often get prizes, but there you are. At least you got your hand on one, didn't you?
Well, I remember you weren't strong enough to hold it up. It's quite a big trophy, and you are not man mountain by any means, but it huge trophy, almost as big as Steve was sat with him. But what a season that was. I mean, when we look back on it now, how lucky we were to see that team. I mean, because when you think they won promotion with a 6-0 away win at Bradford City, the last game was he won 8-2 against Walsall. Picked up the Johnson's Paint Trophy along the way, played exhilarating football. And Steve, who of course has just been appointed Shrewsbury Town manager, good luck to him there. He was really great to talk to about it, and again came up with some fascinating comments.
You've said that the team spirit was built in Botswana largely with that pre-season tour. When you came into the season, having had that tour, how confident were you that it was going to be a season to remember?
I don't think I would be as confident as I am now about it, if you want an honest opinion, because it's gone very well for us. So I think if I said, oh yeah, I was going to be confident about it, people could turn around and say, no chance, did you think that? And I probably would if I was looking at me saying it on the telly. So I think that I was always confident they would be committed to it, because we ended up having the right characters. But for them all to blend in as quick as they have and become teammates, and I'll underline mates in that, as quick as they have is really a credit to them. That's down to them. That's not down to me or anybody else. The boys that have welcomed them in and the new boys that have come in, they really fit like the hand in glove.
One thing that's often said about you, Steve, is though that you eat, drink and sleep football. I wonder if you could just give us a little insight into what, when you have a Monday off as you did this week, what does Steve Cotterill do to relax? Are you a golfer? Are you a music listener? What are you?
No, I on this Monday, I walked to me local Costa, and as I walked through the door, he said to me, "This one's on us today."
That's nice.
So I got a free Costa, which was a bonus. So that was nice of them. The rest of the day then probably just walked around. I think I walked around the town on Monday, just had a little walk, just in and out of a few shops. Nothing more on Monday. I certainly didn't do any work on Monday. I thought I would definitely have that day off. Tuesday we were all back in. So we were all back in. We had a session with the players on Tuesday, which was quite a light session. And then Wednesday it was back down to Barnsley really, and watching 3 games of Barnsley.
So Steve Cotterill, certainly some great memories there from that fantastic season for both our Bristol clubs, actually, wasn't it, that season? It was an amazing time to be presenting Subsbench, I have to say. So there we are, Richard. And I genuinely mean this. It is a really lovely book, well presented, hardback, and beautiful cover, and the pictures inside all really illustrate the chats we had with those various players. So the important thing is, this near to Christmas, how on earth are people going to get hold of it?
Yeah, I should give a mention to designer Steve Henderson, who I used for my previous book, Wembley Wonders. Steve was head of media in Ashton Gate at one time, and a very good designer of books. And we with both books, we went for high quality pages, although it's more costly to produce, because we knew there'd be a lot of photos and a lot of cuttings, and we wanted them to come out as well as possible. And I think what you've just alluded to there, I'm very pleased with the advanced copies that we've received, that the pictures do look really good, even though some of them are quite old. How to get the book? The best way is to go on to the website www.bristolcitymemories.co.uk. That's a website my son set up to sell through PayPal. If you've got PayPal accounts, I'm expecting delivery of the books on Monday or at the latest Tuesday next week, and we'll be posting them out straight away in time for Christmas. So anyone who wants to order can do so through that website. After that, Waterstones are going to take the book, I know, and Amazon are taking it. How quickly they'll actually have copies available, I'm not quite sure. So, and I hope the Bristol City shop, as they did with my last book, will take it as well. But that's for the future at the moment. If you want to order it or pre-order it, then go to that bristolcitymemories.co.uk website.
Okay, that's great, and I dare say Santa will have a few copies to supply as well, so good luck to him. He'll be popping around to collect his later today, I hear.
Well, let's hope so. I don't know if he'll charge commission or not, but...
he's not as mean as you. Right, okay, well, that's it. Well, good luck with the book, Richard. I'm pleased to be involved in it in some small way, and thank you for my advanced copy of it, so...
No, all joking apart, Subsbench was your concept. I make that very clear in the book, and it's all down to you that we had the fun that we did doing all these interviews. So well done to you, and thanks for giving me permission to use it.
No, it's absolutely fine. So anyway, that's our last programme this year. Who knows whether we'll be back and doing more next year, but I think we'd just like to say a happy Christmas to everybody who's ever been involved in the Subsbench project, and to all those who've watched us during lockdown as well. We were staggered and amazed really by the fantastic response we got from people with our programmes during lockdown. So thanks very much to everybody, and thanks to you, Richard. And it's amazing that 2 old geezers managed to get the technology working to do it like this, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, that's probably the most extraordinary thing of all.
Okay, Richard, well, happy Christmas to you and to all our viewers as well. Thanks very much, and we'll hopefully see you in 2021.